Hello, this is Glenay from Glenay's Arcs for Life. I'm here for the second day reading of Operation Mental Health, Practical Lessons on Career Burnout and Recovery, a memoir of discrimination within a major U.S. hospital. If you remember we just went over the blurb on the back page, and also we went over what the California legislator had said many years ago, probably almost 10 years ago, that registered nurses are licensed direct care registered nurses are the only potentially effective means for assuring the provision of safe health care services for patients, which pretty much ties into the reason why we have nurse-led workplace mental health services available for career professional, faith-based, career-driven individuals who are dealing with workplace issues that is driving them into the mental health services. Earlier today in the video, I said that we were talking about untreated and undertreated mental illness, and I said that if you're dealing with workplace issues, that there is no such thing as untreated or undertreated mental illness, because you should not be in the psychiatric led facilities dealing with workplace issues when your issue is systemic in nature. I mean, if you're having mental health crises or issues with that, please go and see a doctor and get the treatment that you need. But if your issues is work, bias, policy, come to Nurse Led so that we can get you the documentation and the language that you need to overcome the situation and not get caught up in medicine. Okay, so this is the introduction. Let me just go ahead and read it without my glasses. Let's see how good I do. Knowing the key physical signs and symptoms of an impending stress-related disease is crucial to understanding where you stand in your challenge. Just as important is recognizing the signs of burnout. Chronic stress disrupts your decision-making process. For example, imagine facing workplace discrimination. The fight or flight response kicks in, but because you're untrained, personal bias takes over, leaving you helpless and unable to make an informed decision about your employment and health. When that happens, disease, career burnout, is not far behind. Burnout is the final stage of chronic stress. It happens when you're frozen in indecisiveness. And it makes sense. You don't know how to properly fight or take flight at work. Instead of taking action, you overthink, avoid, and distract yourself. For instance, you want to file a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, but want to stay anonymous. How can anyone fight for you when you will not show up for yourself? Maybe you want to confront someone who belittles you, or refuse an unethical request from your manager, or even blow the whistle on unsafe business practices. But almost inevitably, fear kicks in and you fall into survival mode. You start thinking only about yourself, forgetting the people your employment decisions affect. Suddenly, all you can focus on is retaliation, losing your job, or being labeled difficult. If fear weren't an issue, you would act without hesitation. This internal tug of war is double mindedness, knowing the right thing to do but not doing it. Over time, it leads to moral distress, mental exhaustion, and ultimately burnout, fueling the health disparities we see in our communities. Here's the good news: you can achieve health equity. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention defines health equity as the condition when everyone has the opportunity to be healthy as possible. Workplace discrimination makes health equity harder for Black women. Call me crazy, but hear me out. What if you saw workplace challenges as a spiritual battle rather than just a legal one? Think about the many possibilities that will miraculously open in your case. He says, I will provide. One reason why employees lose cases and fail at the health equity process is attorneys. They argue the legalities of material possessions because your feelings are hurt. When we forget principles and truth to fight over trivial things that have no life to give, removes Yahweh. Then the hired attorney walks away with 2/3, 66.6% of your settlement. Case over. I have not come across any published legal studies on settlement regrets. Honestly, I have not looked for any, but I know the people exist. Are you willing to share their deep remorse? Happens immediately, causes suicide and severe mental illness, mental injury. You can see why Judas fell on his sword after selling the truth for 30 pieces of silver, and why informed consent is no longer just for medical therapy. It's now mandatory for Christian employees and all employees who may want to try health equity God's way. Many will not, but be forewarned, discrimination is a matter of discernment. The controversy you are in is spiritual warfare. How you fight back matters. That's why every professional you seek help from should be asking, what is your God calling you to do? Darkness will come. It will not last forever. The weight of career burnout can feel suffocating, but the power to overcome lies within you. After 2 years of seeing a psychiatrist, I saw the stark, unsettling contrast between the cold clinical labels of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders and the unwavering truth found in the Holy Bible and written on your heart. You have a choice who you bow to. Then I thought career burnout would be the end of me. Then I thought career burnout would be the end of me, and workers' compensation, my concentration camp, and psychiatry, the gas chamber. I was given an out. Addressing workplace discrimination, the severest form of chronic job stress, feels like stepping into a battlefield. You are fighting to protect something very precious. Fear and anxiety are natural. Confidence grows when you make small, audacious decisions. Then you will be spiritually validated. This book will deliver outstanding employee experience and performance. Using power moves is like playing a game of chess. Successful players require patience, movement, and sacrifice. Focus on protecting the king, which is the most sacred piece on the board. You. You are king, and this God will always checkmate. When you move in obedience, loss is impossible. I know this is a lot of new concepts and content to take in. I don't want to overwhelm you. Pause here if you need a break. This is the reality. God calls many, He chooses few. We can find the many and the few at the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission that receives an average of 90,000 discrimination complaints annually. The majority are Black women being targeted and harassed. We can also find the many and the few at the clinic. MisDiagnoses. MisDiagnoses. Had I told just one doctor about intense arm pain, a positive ANA nuclear pattern antibody, anxiety, depression, chronic dry eye, inflammation, high ocular pressure, jaw tension, sun sensitivity, chronic joint pain, acne, and hair loss, all markers suggestive of autoimmunity, systemic lupus disease. The next step, referral to a rheumatology. Coming into agreement with the liar is easy when you are symptomatic, weak, and think you are too small to fight the big bad system. Two paths stretched before you. One leads to medical diagnosis, treatment plans and procedures, prescriptions, lifelong dependency on the system, and the other path leads to life. Period. Christian employees across the nation talk themselves out of doing righteousness, telling themselves, I need this job. Or if it's the Lord's will, disease is never the Lord's will. Disease is what happens when his children do not obey his commandments. Maybe you're reading this book while waiting in a waiting room. When did your sign and symptoms begin? You also having are you also having workplace conflict? Take a deeper look. My symptoms surface suddenly on workers' compensation. Maybe you're at your crossroads, being forced to make critical decisions about your health and career. Before we move forward with more story, here's something profound to consider. Systemic lupus is classified as an idiopathic disease, a term meaning we don't know why you have it. Idiopathic also means personal. We know why we are sick. We know what happened. We know where it happened. What I did not know at the time is how to worship at work. In this book, I will walk you through the exact power moves I use to practice faith, avoiding the many traps set before this population of people, taking back what is rightfully due. The next chapter is Doctor's First Report. If you are interested in reading along with us in this book, please order you an ebook copy from Glenae's RX for Life. I'll leave a link below for you to get your digital copy. For those of you who want to participate in one of the tiers for the nurse recovery system, please book your free 15-minute discovery call, order your books, and then we will get everything out to you to get you on the right path to asking for your accommodation, to returning back to work, to speaking out about things that matter at work, and having advocacy in action for you to not be taken advantage of, so to speak. So if you have any questions about anything that I've read from Operation Mental Health, please leave your questions in the comment section. I'll be happy to go over it with you. Remember, Wednesdays we do have the Brave Circle, which is a coaching support group, and it is faith-grounded strategy and literacy, so that Black career women in nursing facing workplace discrimination, burnout, or retaliation have a group of support to be able to withstand the issues that is happening in the workplace and to overcome them without succumbing to a medical diagnosis and taking prescription medications. This is a nurse-led workplace mental health agency where we specialize in moral distress, ADA and FMLA accommodations, and return to work. We do slay the workplace challenge and you move forward healthy and whole. We have a list of products and services, and also stress management wellness products like aromatherapy and natural perfume oils, which are workplace and hospital friendly. So I will leave the information below. Until then, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.